So I recently just made a new skill on my stream, and I was just building a bunch of different skills as well. But this is the first one that I built, which I was using a lot of the built-in Claude Code commands like the batch command, the go command, and using Opus to plan and Sonnet to execute, and the security review skill, the built-in code review skill. But then I have to manually invoke it every single time I ship a new feature, which was the whole reason why I started to make this and bundle it into a skill. So this is the skill I made. It's called shipmd, and it's basically designed to be as minimal and lean and simple as possible. This is essentially just a wrapper around whatever the built-in Claude Code commands has, and it makes it a very structured workflow to ship any feature that you want. But it's not a full-blown framework like Get Shit Done or BMAT or SpecKit or OpenSpec. Those are so bloated with a lot of shit. This can be used with shipping any feature that you want. From day to day, I'll be shipping features every day. So I use this all the time to ship new features. And I'm going to try this on a very big task as well later on. So this supports the skill CLI, the Vercel one, just do this and it will install it. And these are the commands that I wrapped inside. The model command that uses Opus plan. This is like a sort of like a hidden command or something. I don't know why is it like hidden, because if you type the /model command in Claude Code, it will show the list of models available, but it doesn't show this option anymore. It used to be there, but now you can only trigger it by typing this command. And the batch command as well, I extracted the batch command. So the batch command is executing all of a very big task and breaking it down into many subtasks to do it in parallel in isolated work trees. So I extracted the prompt and I improved it to fit this workflow here, which adds GitHub integrations as well here. And most of it is still the same as the original prompt, which because I can't replicate it, I can't have Claude Code invoke it. So I had to extract it and bundle it together with this skill. The goal command is actually a very recent command that they added, and this is a very useful one where it will use a haiku model to check whether the goal has been met after the main agent finishes. It will check whether it has finished and actually met the goal. If not, it will just continue. So it uses a very cheap model to verify the goal completion criteria was actually met. And that's how we actually replicate it to a similar way, but because it is also a UI command and I can't have Claude Code call it. So I did something similar, but this is more of using the built-in loop command. They have a /loop command as well that Claude can actually invoke it. So this is what the shipmd loop looks like, and it's similar to the one they have, which is just to evaluate and then just continue or stop. Essentially, it's the same thing, but we only do it up to 5 times and then we'll surface it to the user. And I've bundled in a couple of other useful skills as well, like the edge cases skills and the end-to-end skills, which comes from my other skills repo. A lot of it is still rather experimental, but I would say that the shipmd one is usable and definitely you wouldn't go wrong with it. So the flagship skills that I've made so far are these ones, and I will do other videos covering on those soon because these skills are so good. All of them complement each other. But the best part is you can use them individually. So this edge cases skill and the end-to-end skills come from here, and it's reused across some of the other skills as well, which is why it's in this repo here, which is just a bunch of generic skills. But these are also designed to be very minimal and lean by default, so that it's easy to look at what the skill is doing and it still performs the job. While a lot of these skills are like things that you don't think about when you bring things into production. Things like the security of it. And I just did this yesterday by generating on top of whatever they publish on OOPS. They used to do on web only, but now they have LLMs and AI agent security and prompt injections and skills as well, which is very useful. These are all turned into skills, but I have not tried it myself yet. And generating icons, especially like the edge cases one, this one, I don't think anyone does this, man. The end-to-end testing is also very important. And the legal compliance, the App Store compliance, agent search optimization, search engine optimization, lighthouse optimization, a lot of these are so useful. I'll make a separate video on this as well. So I also bundle the built-in skills like code review and security review. These are built into Claude Code itself, and Claude can actually manually invoke it. But I have fallbacks here and there for like the Claude Code commands, and it will invoke it for codecs as well, but it's like a fallback option that will try to replicate the same behavior of whatever we have here, because codecs doesn't exactly has the same feature parity as Claude, but they do have like the Go command itself as well. So some of it I have to like manually fall back into codecs. And I posted a thread on this as well. So I posted it on threads. I said that I swear this is like the first time I've seen to-dos in Claude Code for months. And I even tagged like the original post on X as well, where they ever seen some time ago in January, I believe, where this actually came out, where they turned to-dos into tasks instead. And I've never ever seen this task interface before. I don't know why this was removed, but they completely removed the to-dos and they moved to tasks instead. And these tasks are different because these persist across sessions, but I've never ever seen them doing it. So I said, has anyone seen this interface before? And I posted it in May. Like 4 months, I've never seen this interface ever. So what I did was to make it into the button. I integrated it into the skill itself to make it use the built-in Claude Code to-dos so that you would actually use it and you can actually see what it's actually doing rather than like doing this blind. And it's so useful, so you can see what phase is it at, because this is a structured workflow of many phases. You can see which phase is it currently at. And it has GitHub integrations as well. So it will use GitHub labels and it will check if you want to use GitHub for creating issues. If it is a very big task, it will try to break down into multiple subtasks and allow you to check which task is in what state right now. And of course, it works great with the other skills that I made, and I'll make separate videos on this as well. So just do subscribe if you want to see what's up with all these other skills and how they work together. And the only two skills that come with this is only ship, which is the full pipeline, and /shipfast, which is just a half of it. So if it is a very simple implementation, shipfast is more than enough. So the whole pipeline is here. We start with exploring the code base first, but this was actually, I literally just changed this today. It used to be interview first, where the agent will ask the user whether any clarifying questions to help it clarify any doubts that it has first. But then I thought that it was quite stupid, because when I looked at the questions it asked, a lot of it was just no-brainer questions, and then it was just doing the sake of asking, just asking for the sake of asking. So I thought that was pointless. And what agents are good at is exploring the code base. So what I did was actually to swap it around and make exploring the first step instead. It used to be the second step after interviewing. So it will explore the code base first and look at whatever clarifications that it has to its doubts, to refine the requirements, and it will look for the code base for answers to that. I strongly believe that the code base has enough context to know whatever it needs to answer. Unless it's like something very new that it doesn't know, then it will go to the interview stage, where it will use the built-in Claude Code interview tool to ask the user whatever they want to clarify. And it will do this in a continuous loop until all of the questions are clarified. And I make use of the Opus plan mode with using Opus to plan and using Sonnet to execute. This saves a lot of cost. In fact, I don't even know why people use Opus to execute for everything when literally just using Sonnet is good enough. I've been using Sonnet all the time. I really don't have any issues, and you just use up more usage by using Opus. So I built it into the skill itself to use Opus to plan, which is the built-in command essentially, using Opus to plan, and you give you the plan that's planned by Opus with like the plan UI in Claude Code, and you can decide to accept or you want to change. That's basically the Claude Code plan mode. And then there's this batch command that we recreated earlier, and it will execute it using the batch command either in the isolated work trees, or two, it will do it on the same workspace. If the task is very simple, it will just determine that, okay, this is good enough for just doing everything on this workspace. There's no conflicting changes, that everything is isolated. So it will just decide it for itself. If it doesn't know, then it will actually question it in the first phase, in the interview phase here. And then once everything is implemented, it will do a verification phase using the go command, which will loop up to 5 times to make sure that all of the criteria is okay before it actually finishes. That's for the ship fast version. But actually, I might move this verify into an Opus agent instead. I think that would be way better than Sonnet. I might move like some of the other cases as well, like the security review, maybe to Opus as well. I'm not sure, but I feel like Sonnet is way good enough. Maybe like the final one we can use Opus or this one. I'm still constantly tuning this, and so far it seems so good. If you want the full pipeline, you can opt into these 2 optional phases. That's the 2 skills from the A major skills repository, running the edge cases testing, and not exactly testing, but it's actually checking all of the edge cases to make sure that all edge cases are covered when implementing features. These are like things nobody thinks about, and especially agents, they don't give a fuck about all of this shit, man, unless you like tell it to, which is why it's built into this skill itself. And it will do end-to-end testing using either Playwright or Maestro for mobile apps, or computer use, or the Claude for Chrome. And it will do a code using the code review skill, using Sonnet as well. I still don't know whether to change it to other Opus model or not. And security review using Sonnet as well. Once everything is done, it will do a final verification. Maybe this one should be Opus. Ensure that this will loop up to 5 times to make sure there's no issues left. It will launch its own sub-agent to make sure that there's no issues left. This is the complete pipeline here. And this is so insane, man. I've been doing this manually for the longest time in Claude Code. Now it's bundled into one skill, and you can literally just use it as it is from here as well. Just run the command to install it and just type /ship, whatever you want to ship. Try it out, and yeah, I'm gonna do this on a real task later to see how well this works. So I have a task here that's because I recently did the Update Night app. If you've watched my 5-day build challenge, my Update Night website is actually built in 10 stack start. But then if you watch my stream replays, I had a lot of issues getting 10 stack start to work. In fact, the problem was it was so hard to debug all of the issues on 10 stack start. Literally this. Whenever I encounter an issue, this was literally the error. There was no way to like trace back the issue, man. It's so hard to debug in 10 stack. Whereas in Next.js, you actually get the trace of where the issue came from. This is so much better. The developer experience of Next.js is so much better. So my point is, I decided to migrate off 10 stack into Next.js instead, because after like even like the AI itself, they couldn't even like figure out what was the issue that I had on stream as well. Like we were just stuck on that for like hours and hours. We couldn't figure out what was the issue. So I just decided, fuck it, I'm gonna move off to Next.js. So now the latest version of this is actually running in Next.js, but I realized that the backend is actually combined into the Next.js backend rather than following the architecture that I have here, where I'm actually using the server, the Hono server as the backend, which is the wrong setup here. Sorry, I was troubleshooting this earlier, and the previous agent already created the prompt for this. So I'm just going to use that prompt. And I'm not sure if this go works or not, but I think you can combine the go command with like the ship command and then put your prompt in. So this is my prompt: to migrate the admin scraping logic to Next.js server actions to the Hono API server. And this is actually more than this actually. Actually, you know what? I'm going to not do that. To show that this actually works, let me do a simple prompt instead. I recently migrated from 10 stack start to Next.js, which is the Next.js one is the web folder, and the 10 stack start one is in web 10 stack. So the original version has all of the API backend routes and all the functions in the server Hono server, which is under app/server. But after migrating to Next.js, which is the web folder, I realized the agents combined everything into Next.js and made it one app, rather than separating the concerns into the backend server of Hono. Can you do the migration back for me for Next.js such that the web Next.js folder is only for the front end, and the back end is actually fully on the Hono server, which is the intended structure and architecture where the web 10 stack version was doing. So let's see how that goes. So it's loaded the skill and it's gonna explore the code base first, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, I already say what was the issue. It's gonna look at the code base and see what's the problem here. This was the genuinely most useful change to the skill that I did, because it just makes so much sense to explore first rather than interview, which I kind of got it wrong at first because I thought interviewing was more important first. So this is more correct now. And throughout the workflow, it actually will use the advisor tool as well this is one of the newer tools that Claude recently added, and this allows the agent to call a stronger model to consult on certain issues, like if it gets stuck, and it will ask the more powerful model. In this case, you can actually set the model. If you type this, I think you can set the model to Opus. For me, I set it to Opus, and because we're using Sonnet to execute, it can anytime ask the advisor tool, which will launch a sub-agent with all the context it needs, and I replicated this behavior in Codex as well. So it will launch a sub-agent with a more powerful model to think what's the issue and provide advice here, which is sort of like a consultant, which is why it's called advisor here. So while it's doing its thing, let's take a look at what the skill file is all about. So it will by default have this prompt in all of the skills I've built so far. It will by default use the Claude Code advisor tool for help whenever it gets stuck. So phase 1 and 2 is actually a loop with the interview and exploration phase, and it covers that. And then it will check for the dependency as well on the edge cases and stuff, whether you want to execute that later or not. It will ask you that as well. And it will check whether GitHub is installed, and it will start the plan mode, which is this tool here that enters into plan mode. And it will go ahead and implement using the batch command, which I have in references here, into a different file, which is the one I showed earlier. This is 2 different modes, one PR or multiple PRs, basically work trees. And it will run in a loop for the verification phase here to make sure that it's actually working properly and meets all the criteria. And the optional phases of the edge cases and end-to-end testing, this is optional, but you can do it as well. Honestly, recommend you to do it. It's important. The code review one is basically just invoking their built-in skill. The security review one as well. And finally, it will do a final verification of everything in one loop to make sure that everything is all in place. So we can see that this is really like an end-to-end coverage of shipping any feature that you want. And we have some other files here as well, like the GitHub issue creation, how to create the issues, and the GitHub labels as well, how to label the thing. And the ship fast version essentially is just the same thing, just that it's cut into 4 phases. Now it's asking me to clarify on certain things. The migration has 2 parts, adding missing API endpoints to app server for features that currently exist as Next.js server actions, and rewriting apps web to call those API instead of hitting the DB directly. How complete do you want this migration? Of course, I want a complete migration. After migration, how should apps web call the backend? The Web 10 stack version use direct fetch calls with credentials include. Next.js can do the same, or we can create a typed API client. It's saying that, okay, I think a typed API client will be better than a direct REST API call. Let's do that. The Next.js auth route handler is still needed since BetterAuth needs to serve its own endpoints. Should this stay in Next.js, or should all auth traffic go through app server? I think it should still stay in Next.js actually. Next.js should still handle the auth. But I get where the concern comes from because it's now like in 2 different places. But I think it's way better to just, the way that it works is, it makes more sense to be integrated in the front end, because like if you look at like the front end sessions and stuff, I think it has to be in the Next.js, man. So I'll submit that. So after it has taken my answers into consideration, it has looped back again to do the exploration phase and look for more things. Now it has done that, and then it asks Opus 47, the advisor tool, again for help to check, because this is a very large migration. So advisor managed to catch something here, and it asked me a few more questions whether to do the auth really, is it to really do it in Next.js still, or completely move it off to the backend instead. And Hono has a HTRPC client as well that can do the full type inference without any wrappers. So I thought that was very interesting. I didn't even know that. That was so cool. So it managed to catch that, and now it's doing another exploration and see how this goes. So it has done all that, and it has came up with a very concrete plan using the built-in Claude Code plan mode. And this is the plan it came out with. Even like the interface as well. This is the built-in Claude planning mode. This was using Opus to plan, by the way, which means that this is the highest quality plan that it can do with all the context that it has gotten so far. And it's pretty detailed as well with like the implementation of different waves and the strategy of the parallelization and the verification that this is done. I'll go ahead and accept that. And now it's back to Sonnet again, using Sonnet to actually do the execution now. And this will execute using the batch mode that's doing everything in parallel while having all the issues set up in GitHub so that you can track what each agent is actually doing and what's the current status of it. So you can see that it's actually still using the built-in to-dos that's built into Claude Code. I don't know why is it not by default that's doing this. You can see where is it at. It's trying to do wave 1 first, and then the verify is the last step. So it's already the next day, and I just let it run for a while. It managed to complete the entire thing in an hour and 5 seconds. So it did the entire migration to the backend Hono server in about 1 hour, and then it wasn't much at all because it was all in like separate PRs and isolated work trees. So I went ahead and asked it to merge it all, and then everything is now merged here. So let me just take a look at how is it. Maybe it's not even, did I even pull it yet? Okay, let me pull it and see how is it. All right, it's synced. So let me just refresh here and see whether that worked. All right. It's it seems fine so far. Let me take a look at the other pages as well. But most of the logic right now is inside of the admin panel, which is where the things might break at. So let me take a look inside. And if we just check inside, the logic should not be there anymore. It's gone. It's all front-end stuff now. So if I were to try this, let me try publishing it. That worked. If I were to use, what's the publisher's one? Oh, okay. I guess it managed to pretty much migrate the entire thing over then in literally just 1 hour. And like the planning was pretty good. So that seems to be good. But the only caveat is it hasn't done the GitHub issues on GitHub. So it wasn't there at all. But this is now fixed. I realized that when I was recording yesterday's video, and this is now fixed inside of the skill. So it will verify that the GitHub issues is actually done first before proceeding with the implementation. So you'll do like a pre-flight check here and make sure that the GitHub issues will be created first before it actually starts implementing it. The planning mode here. After plan approval, create the GitHub issues immediately and before marking plan completed, before starting anything else. So it should do that now. And I posted this on Threads and YouTube and X and Instagram as well. So it's now all out with like the videos, like the short form video, the posts that I did on, I think the one that did well was the one on Threads. So this one got about 700 views and we got 8 likes on it. So I think it's not bad. And I'll cover on like the other stuff that I built in another video. But so far, this is one piece only. And we have so many other pieces that all work together. So I'm excited to showcase whatever we have in the other ones, especially the vibe one, that this is actually like a skill that's based off whatever we did in like the previous video. So if you have seen this video, this long form video on letting Claude Code deploy the entire stack, the entire update night that I did to AWS by itself, that took about, I don't know, 3 hours or more than that. And that was pretty insane. That was automatic. And I did a short on it as well, which has 581 views. I think it went viral on Instagram, where it got like 2,000 views or something. There's 1,200 views for that same short. So I turned that into a skill, and the result of it is the shipmd skill, which is, I tried it on one of the streams as well. It was pretty good. So I'll do a video on that as well. So if you need to ship any features, this is definitely the skill to use. And I've been using this for here and there. Definitely this structured workflow is way more useful than just doing it vanilla and using the vanilla Claude Code without any structure. This is the structured pipeline that enforces the end-to-end workflow for shipping any feature that you need.